there are various ways to act. It's difficult to say like this, and I don't want to go beyond my words. I don't want to be too much optimistic, let's say. Number one, I would like the film to be seen. I would like these voices, which I collected in the movie, the Nigerian voices, the Christian in Nigeria voices, to be heard by the biggest number of people possible. This is the first target. It should go from international film festivals to here, the Hill, to the European parliaments, to the General Assembly of the United Nations. This should be achieved also. This is the first target. Number two, I'm sure that we could get results if the powerful Christian churches in America were more aware. They are well aware of the situation of their sisters and brothers in Middle East, in the plain of Nineveh, of Mosul. They are well aware, and they acted. Maybe not enough. We never act enough, but they did. They mobilized themselves. I think that it should be considered for you as a target to mobilize these American mega churches. And as I said yesterday in front of another audience, I can well imagine the American mega churches rebuild the Nigerian little churches burnt, destroyed, vandalized, desacralized by the Fulani tribe men. It is my dream to see the worshipper of American mega church going in Nigeria with proper protection. This can be fulfilled, it's not very difficult, to rebuild the little village churches which have been methodically destroyed. If I can help for that, I will do in the limits of my time and my means. But this should be a goal. What can I say else? What you said, sir, should be targeted. A white book, un livre blanc, a white book about the massacres in Nigeria. Mainly Christians, sometimes moderate Muslims, sometimes Shia, as you said, but the white book, which is establishing the facts, producing the lists of the killed, identifying the killers, identifying the mechanisms of the killings, how the weapons arrive, and so on. A white book or a black book, call it the way you want, this can be done. If I were me, it would take me 1 year, maybe 6 months to get the information and to have them released. If it were me, I would do that in this time. The list, very important, the list of the victims, because it's horrible to die. It's horrible to die in atrocious conditions. But what is even more terrible and horrible and even more atrocious is to die without a proper grave, without a proper place in the memory of the survivors, without having even a proper number of the deads. This is the summit of genocide. When you don't have the figures, when you don't have the names, when you don't have the graves, it is dying 2 times, you know. So a white book establishing the precise list, name after name. The Jews did that. There is a great gentleman called Serge Klarsfeld. He devoted his life, and another one, a Christian father called Père Patrick Desbois, another Frenchman. Serge Klarsfeld did it on one side, Patrick Desbois did it for the Shoah by bullet, the Holocaust by bullet in Eastern Europe. They devoted their life to establish lists, to name, just the names, and to give to those who were not properly buried a little modest burial in a book or in a plaque, the name inscribed in a monument. This is a way to honor the dead, to give them the burial which they did not have, because a lot of people we saw in the movie, in my movie, they have just their body had just been let to the dogs or to the vultures. So to give them a proper funeral in stone or in paper, and to have the extent of the crime. So I would be favorable to that. My advice, I have not the means and the time to do it myself, but my advice to you would be to undertake this enterprise. White book. Number 1, the name of the victims. Number 2, what we know about the killers. And number 3, what we know about the circuits, about the working of the machinery of death. If you can do that, you will have fulfilled a great deed, and as we the Jews said, a huge mitzvah. If I can help in a way or in another, I will do. Sanctions, Buhari and his partners, they will leave power one day. They know that they look at what happened in the rest of the world, what happened to al-Bashir in Sudan, what happened to Milosevic in Serbia. They know that they could end in an international court to respond for their crimes. This is a good argument we have, we, the West. We can go to Buhari and his affiliates. We can send lawyers to them, or we can send news of your lawyers. This is what expects you, what is waiting you when you leave the power. You still have maybe a chance to escape your fate, which is changing politics, stop the killings, expel the Fulanis from inside your administration. It's difficult because even Buhari, but let's say the West has this power, economical sanction and judicial threat. The siege of Sarajevo in 1995 was broken by a military intervention, because at this point it was the only way to do, but a light one, implying no boots on the ground and no casualties on the side of the Allies, and also a moral pressure on the killers who ended in lag in the international tribunal. So my experience, that's why I tell you what I told before, my experience is that the moral and the law threat can be the most efficient. Buhari, I'm sure, follows day after day what happens to the Sudanese al-Bashir. Day after day, he follows. He's his brother in crime. He knows that if we are numerous to say what we say, to show what we show, maybe to request lawyers. You should, by the way, this is an idea. You should hire some international lawyers. I can advise you if you want. International lawyers of big reputation to make file, to organize criminal pursuits, to go to the tribunal. This is a language which the rulers of Nigeria can understand. This is what my experience tells me.
All right, I'll leave